We now open this to debate. This was held by Councillor Stintz.
Madam Speaker, Councillor Walker can go first. He's the opposing councillor. And I'm the councillor for the area.
Right. Councillor Walker?
Well, I really appreciate that. I'm moving a motion which staff have, which I'm moving that the item be referred back to the North York Community Council with a request that the local councillor be instructed to hold a public meeting in the ward prior to the first meeting of the North York Community Council in 2011 for a final resolution of this application by City Council. The reason why I'm doing that is twofold. In looking at this this application, which had houses on it in an apartment neighborhood designation for one block. It had an apartment designation of R2Z 1.0 times coverage, not the typical high-rise apartment zoning of 2 times coverage. And when we get the infill projects, they generally jump from 2 to 5 to 6 times coverage in the area that I represent. Councillor Ray,
just asked him to stop up there. He was right.
So, so that's the first concern I have is this application comes in at a density of 10.2 times coverage. That is 1,020% increase, not 200%, not 300% increase. It's 1,020% increase. And if you go to the application we dealt with just before lunch on Bloor Street, the density there that's permitted is 2.5 in a mixed zoned area on an avenue. And the local councillor moved at 8 and 10 stories instead of the staff's recommendation at 12 and 10 and 12 stories. That and the density jumped to 5.85. Those numbers, certainly the density didn't look too bad to me. And the community makes the final decision on what is reasonable, what isn't. And the councillor didn't, and he recommended differently than the staff recommended. On this issue of angular planes, the entrances of the buildings previously and the entrances of the buildings across the road on the west side of Duplex are houses, and well, one really rickety house. I used to represent all of this area. I used to represent all 4 corners of this area, this Yonge and Eglinton. I represent 3 now. They had entrances, and they do have entrances on Duplex. This is a residential street that acts as a collector or even a limited arterial road. 15,000 cars to 16,000 north of Eglinton, south of Eglinton, 14,000 cars when it goes right into the ward that I now presently represent. And so the angular plane should have been taken. We just went through an urban design study, official plan and rezoning for all the lands around, and this site was appealed to be in the growth center, and was defeated at the Ontario Municipal Board. So there was anticipation that they were trying to get growth center kinds of density. And that's what this development has resulted in. We don't have, except the Minto development, we don't have anything at 10.2 times coverage at Yonge and Eglinton. The anticipation on the TDC lands, it is 9 times coverage. And then it steps down as it gets into the residential area. And we've approved the development at 4.5 times coverage at Berwick and Yonge, which had a similar, it is a very similar kind of lot as this one, although it provided replacement housing. The size of the floor plate here is 850 meters square, or square meters. The tall buildings criteria is up to 750. The tall building, slim building, and so you can see around it. So this doesn't meet that criteria. We pick and choose that this doesn't meet that criteria. It's far in excess of what is permitted. We don't know, the questions don't appear to have been asked, what about the rental housing stock? Well, I know that Berwick and Duplex, just a couple of months ago, staff were all over it. I urged that and supported it. And we've replaced all the affordable and mid-price rental housing in the new development. There's townhomes and real townhomes. The other is the setbacks are 0.42 meters. You go up to 3 floors, it's 1.84 meters, and I'm getting different numbers at different minutes and then the total at the 6th floor from the property line is 3.5 meters, and that includes the 0.42 meters at the ground level. So you have up to...
Move an extension, all in favor, opposed?
You have up to 6 floors facing out on a 2-story residentially zoned area. And is that good urban design? Is that a reasonable transition? We did 2 developments in this present council, one on the east side of Yonge and one on the west side of Yonge, south of Davisville, where they were permitted 8 stories on the avenues, stepping down to 6, stepping down to 4, and stepping down to 3 when it got up adjacent to the residentially zoned area. I say to you, that's a reasonable transition on a tighter lot. This application's impact on the library, I went up and had a look at it last night because I'm now a tenant up on Avenue Road. I had a look at it. The library's principal windows all face west and then slightly southwest for 2 floors. The development potential for the Stanley Knowles Co-op could be fettered, and there's a letter from, which I can't find at the moment, but there's a letter from the chair of the library board saying there could be problems, but they're being looked after. And so it's what is the impact of building to the lot line? And what is the impact on the adjacent owner? And is the transition, you start going down from Yonge Street, you hit our property, and then you start going up as you head towards the straight residentially zoned area. All this area is under extreme stress from development opportunities. And what are developers looking for? They're looking for opportunities and weakness. We have pretty good planning documents in place, and I ask you to honor those and send it back so we can have a full consultation with the community on the basis of the final report in the community. That's the way I do it all the time.
Walker, and I thank you for your
Thank you very much.
Now, we have a referral motion.
Oh.
So firstly, we need to deal with that motion. If any member wishes to speak to the referral motion, you have 2 minutes.
Yes, Nancy
Everyone,
Reagan.
you're ready to vote. So no speakers, ring the bell
No.
on the referral.
You could have used it on me when I use it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes? On the referral motion, a recorded vote.
Councillor Heaps and Councillor Lee, please.
It's first. No, it's first. No, it's on the...
Councillor McConnell, please. Councillor Vaughn.
Yeah, that's right. And I think there's 27. And then there's another.
And you guys aren't.
20's up there today.
Councillor Lee, please.
But he knows about it. Dwayne knows it. Doesn't Dwayne know what he's doing? Yeah.
The referral motion does not carry. The vote is 4 to 26.
I know you're right.
All right, Councillor Stintz to speak.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate the indulgence of council. There's no question that this application was difficult in the community, that there was 2.5 years of work we put into it, that we had several meetings. We actually struck a working group. The working group met.
Councillor Stintz, if you have any motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, pardon, thank you. I do have some motions that are technical in nature. One is that the maximum number of dwelling units be reduced so as not to exceed 223. 10 of those dwelling units have a size that does not exceed 47 square meters, and I'll explain that one. That there's the Section 37 and how that will be dispensed. and that we add for private garbage pickup as well. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And so,